Okay, here this is XRush 101, and I'm here to show you how to make an advanced forge trap. And this is just our walkway, so once we're done with the map, I can just like show an example of what it would look like once you walk on here, and then the trap happens and stuff. But basically, what happens is you walk through, and then out of the blue, a fusion coil or whatever object you want will shoot out of a block large here. And I also use this trap in my map chambers. You can download that on off of my file share. You can look up my profile on Bungie.net, or I'll also have the download link to my map chambers in the description. So yeah, you can check that out. It's pretty cool. But first, the first thing we need to do is make a block large. So here, right here, I'm just gonna set it down right here first, and then you also need to make a wall like this. And then what you want to do is, here, let me just straighten this out really quick. You need to set the wall respawn rate to 180. Place at start no, and runtime minimum at 0. That's this right here. And do the same thing for the block large. And then start a new round. Okay, now once we have that, now we gotta make the trap components, or the information inside the trap. So let me just delete this right here really quick. Now first we make, hold on. First we have our wedge small, and I'll just make that right here. Okay, and then once we have our wedge small, then we need to make a pallet. And make sure you have it touching the wedge small, because I'll explain that in a little bit. So make sure it's touching this. Now we make our fusion coil, and we're gonna just do the settings for these right now, I guess. You wanna have the pallet respawn rate at never, and place at start yes, runtime minimum at 0. Fusion coil is the same as the pallet. Respawn rate never, place to start yes, and runtime minimum 0. Now this is not going to be part of the actual trap, but I'm just going to use this to hold up the man cannon that I'm going to add, so I don't have to save changes to make it fly and all that stuff that takes a long time. But now that we have this, I'm just going to add our man cannon, or yeah. And I'll do the settings for these right now, I guess. I'll have the respawn rate at 10 seconds, place at start, no, and runtime minimum 0. You have to make sure all these settings are correct, or else your trap will not work. And that way your pallet and fusion coil will get blown away right when they respawn. So now that we have that, you want to come over here to make sure you can't see the little blue stuff coming out of it, because that way, so once you do that, so the people who are playing your obstacle course or whatever it is can't see that there's a trap there. And so now that that's there, here I'm just going to make that a little bit out a little bit more like that to give it more power. And then come back here and check. Nope, can't see it. So now we delete this. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to respawn our block large and set the respawn rate at this to 20. It just reassures that the trap will work. You can set it as 10 if you want, but I just do 20. This is start no, runtime minimum 0. Respawn the wall again, do the same thing. Except to have this at respawn rate 10, place to start no, runtime minimum 0, and then start a new round. So now, as you can see, all of our stuff is right here, and since you had the man cannon respawn 10 seconds, it won't get blown away. And the reason you want to have the wall respawn at 10 seconds is because now that pallet is still under there. And if you have it respawn instantly, then the pallet will basically just go into the ground and it won't work. And now you have your black larch here, and you can't notice at all that there's going to be a trap here. Now basically what happens is, once you touch the area where the pallet is merged into the wall, it will basically have like a signal. This is not really true, but that's just the way I'm putting it. It will basically send a signal to the wedge small, to the fusion coil, and then having the man cannon shoot out the fusion coil at you out through the wall. So here, let me test this out for you. And the good thing about this is you can't shoot it out of place because there's this wall right here. And the only way you can trip it is if you like shoot into the corner here, or if you walk really slowly, or you jump over the pallet. But here, let me just show this to you. And then it explodes. Pretty cool, huh? And that is how you make an advanced trap. Another thing you can use instead of a fusion coil is you can also use a block tiny. But make sure it's always you'll always want to make sure it's touching this wedge small. You can also use a block small, a block flat, or if you want to, a golf ball. And instead of using a pallet to set off a trap, you can use a radio antenna here, like this. You could like merge that into a block double, have the block double as the floor, and then merge the radio antenna into the block double, and then have it touching something like this, like a wedge small, and then have it set off a trap. But that's how you do advanced traps, and when you do that, you'll have your people who are viewing your map never know what will come and hit them. So, if you want to check out my map, Chambers, it's in my file share, link in the description. If you have any questions, you can just send me a message over YouTube. And that's it. See ya.